wanted to check that my voice is okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A very good afternoon to one and all. Advancements in antenna engineering using artificial intelligence. We have an eminent resource person, Dr. Sinmoy Saha, with us. Dr. Sinmoy Saha received the University of Calcutta, India in 2002, 2005 and 2012 respectively. He is currently working as an Space Science and Technology, Department of Space, Government of India. He has visited University, Canada during 2015 to 2018 in various Ontario and University of Alberta, Edmonton, Canada. He is a senior member of the IEEE and a life member of IETE. He is the founding and current chairman Antennas and Propagation Chapter of IEEE Kerala section during 2018 to 2019. Dr. Saha has received several prestigious the Department of Avionics IAST, National Scholarship from Ministry of Human Resource Development, Best Contribution Award for the notable services and significant contributions Kolkata section and several Best Paper Awards in various international conferences. His current modeling for WB and UWB systems, microwave circuits, engineered materials, and multifunctional antennas for modern wireless applications, dielectric resonator antennas, and terahertz antennas. He has more than 100 Am I audible? Dr.
Yes,
Saha?
I can hear you. I can hear you. You are audible.
Okay, thank you, sir. Dr. Saha has more than 120 publications in peer-reviewed national and international journals and conference proceedings, and the book link is posted in the chat box for your reference. Dr. Saha is on the board of reviewers of several techniques, IEEE transaction in antennas and propagation, IEEE antennas and wireless propagation, scientific reports, etc. He is an associate editor in IEEE Access and International Journal of RF and Microwave Computer Aided Engineering.
Well, a very good afternoon to all of you. I believe you had a good lunch, but I also hope you are not feeling sleepy as an outcome of that good lunch, right? That is a possibility, especially in physical conferences with a lot of items and all. And then the next speakers is at advantage, like he has to speak less because people are sleepy, and sometimes in disadvantage. Extend very sincere thanks to the organizers, especially Dr. Guptirani, whom I have probably met quite a few times at NIT Trichy in Kanyaman, and then other professors like Professor Karthikeyan. And I know so with the sincere thanks to the organizers led by Professor sincere thanks to this initiative of AICT, Hotel initiative. Let me go to my presentation. Especially during this COVID pandemic and post-lockdown time, because the civilization is facing a lot of challenges, a lot of difficulties on different fronts, but at least academic part, experimental part, research part is not disturbed because of this kind of initiative, which is universities are taking and organizing classes in virtual podium. Similarly, this kind of initiative, workshop, conferences, faculty development program is a very good initiative. My presentation and go to the agenda. Like what I am going to talk on is, as you know, as the title the antennas or for cognitive radio and 5G applications. Let me know when you see my screen. So sometimes there is some delay of 4 to 5 seconds. Uh, you make sure that what I am talking and what I am showing are. This is the agenda, like antennas for cognitive radio and 5G applications. This is the main agenda. You mentioned that it's a uh, online and it's a 3 hour event for us that we have started around 2006. So I'll be going to like those virtual journeys, and I'll show you the works related to some of the antennas that we have developed for satellite. Podium. Let me take a minute to introduce my institute. As you know, Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, Trivandrum. We are here Puducherry. And these institutes started its journey with a specific focus of creating quality human matter of great pride and privilege to mention that currently almost 1,000 ISRO scientists are graduates of Dr. Kalam, the known the missile man or the best visionary and scientist of India. In view of our campus, and I invite you
Not audible, sir.
muted throughout, right? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is
So,
audible.
no, I already. Okay, okay. So I did not do anything. So please make sure that to ask only when you are asking the question, then only you unmute. Otherwise, keep yourself muted throughout. Okay, because background noise will disturb the flow around me. But at least you can ensure that. Right? Okay. About the about IST and the map, you could hear me at that time. Accidentally, I got muted. So this is the typical research activities that's happening to get uploaded. So I'll be a little bit slow. So our activities can be where we have designed different kind of antennas for different kind of applications. Cognitive radio and the 5G applications is one of the major applications which have applications. And being in IIST and being part of Department of Space, we have very strong collaboration, very strong association with National Remote Sensing Center, Hyderabad, for designing antennas for satellite tracking applications. So few of my PhD students which are very specific and very focused antennas for LEO satellite tracking. Know them, you will ensure that you receive data from the satellite, and at the same time you will ensure towards each other. And then we design some conformal antennas for different other kind of space applications like reusable launch vehicle, design of very compact and wideband linearly and circularly polarized antennas for RLV type of applications. And the last one that micro systems, not only the antennas but systems in general for next generation communication, for transfer, energy harvesting, and some of my students are also working on optical fiber. A few slides I'll be spending in giving more glimpses of towards our activities. So, these antennas for frequency notched and narrowband applications simultaneously. Dual computers, dual complementary antenna, and these are some unique articles which you will get in IEEE transactions and IEEE indicating the different multiple antenna functionalities, which is out that there are two sections. The first section is a collaboration with Vikram Sarabhai Space Center in connection with designing certain kind of antennas for these are later on changed to reconfigurable structure in the conformal structure. And the second part is with different kind of dielectric resonators, as you can see probably over here. And these dielectric resonators and these hybrid monopole type of antennas together, when you mix them, you get a very, very wide band performance. That is one aspect, but at the many practical scenarios, along with the desired signal range, you get some undesired noise bands also. So if you really want to have an antenna which will be self-sustained in both of the antenna, we reported these results, and as you can see probably from the structure, the same antenna for different combinations of the antenna, and thereby they can control on some of the resonances of the antenna. And as a result, these is with respect to different kind of we'll be explaining in very detail today, so that we go a little bit quick over here. Only thing is these are some of the filtering structures people call them, but these are simple speaking resonators which are loaded on a horn antenna, etc. Even for dielectric resonator kind of antennas for different kind of applications, and this is basically a balanced and metallization. These are simply unscrewed and these are two basically chalks that you use in the class of cross-polarized radiation reduction. So this is a BATSA, as I mentioned, balanced antipodal tapered slot antenna for low cross polarization is mitigated using this kind of balance is actually mitigated by this particular kind of arrangement over here. So when I will be talking on many T and post T or whatever virtual T probably. So I'll be coming into details of these applications. In these slides in same antenna when loaded with different kind of resonators and using a control mechanism, using a motor and some kind of switches function and tunable narrowband function. I'll be explaining this experimental setup in detail very soon. So let me at, during my and sometimes we have been done these experiments at University of Queen's University and University and this is not very much related to the today's agenda, but just as I said, I'll take you through a virtual journey of our research group. This is some new kind of work that we have started around late 2000. Am I audible?
Please mute your mic.
Can you hear me? Also, okay. So please get muted. Basically one kind of cavity, and that cavity is loaded with different kind of dielectric. Basically, as you know, it's basically a magnetic dipole. It excites certain kind of modes in the dielectric resonance. The split cavity resonator together excites three different kind of mechanisms which are called bonding efficiency. So this is for near field early spark transfer applications and some of the extensions gadgets in terms of pacemaker or some kind of hearing aids, etc. You can see a experimental setup over here, and this is the cavity, and these are you can see probably in the screen. So there are three different modes, 1, 2, and 3, and at the intermediate mode you of work like the photoconductive antennas for terahertz applications. Terahertz, as you know, it has a lot of space applications, not for that because of the atmospheric challenges in terms of the high attenuation. But when you have a space environment and there is requirement of huge data transfer and etc. So terahertz is the best. Direction is to also started work very recently in space application centers in some of the wings of the URL satellite center. So as today, but probably you have heard me in other forum like at 400 to 600 gigahertz we have designed the solid idea of photonics and conventional antenna engineering. Also, these antennas, because these are realized on semiconductor substrate, you need to have a very solid understanding of These are some of the structures that was designed and fabricated. The photoconductive antenna, nanometer kind of dimension, but we could realize and fabricate them at Space Application Center. I mean, dipole antenna, but not a typical one because it is a photoconductive antenna. Its mechanism is completely different. And this particular part, second part of the slide, the bottom part is basically some tri-band monopulse are doing very good work on this particular thing. So these are some realized prototype. Now the idea is to receive more data from the satellites because of so many number of payloads and will be increasing. And as you know, the satellite pass, the time during which satellite and the Earth station and of data, and then current requirement is to ensure that we receive the data in multiple bands. Realization, and this is a dual band antenna at S band and X band together receiving the data. This is a very basic mechanism explaining the sum mode, that means kind of directed towards the data. Research activities in our group, I enter into the presentation. I'll be starting some of the things because the antennas cognitively inclination and strong correlation with the metamaterial inspired concepts. So I'll be spending some 10 minutes workshop probably in the month of February. I was there at NIT Tripurapalli for that Indo-Canadian. Spend around 5 to 10 minutes to give you the basic ideas. Then I'll be coming to the concept of the cognitive radio antennas and some concepts. So probably those who have worked and probably working in the metamaterial areas, we call them meta because the artificial engineering, like you can create those bases and lattice, by cascading those bases together in a periodic structure. The negative mu and negative epsilon or their combination, and this is realized by two different kind of structures getting amalgamated. The thin nanowires kind of structures. So when you place them together, that is a unit cell or basis, and when structure. You have probably gone through some of the theoretical explanations and some of the experimental verification part also, that such structures, if you do a free space measurement using two material characterization, and from that when you try to retrieve the mu and epsilon, you will see there is a narrow window across which this medium gives you an effective negative mu and negative epsilon. By Professor Callows and Ito in 2002, even though this approach is more popular in this group, Professor Callows and Dr. Callows and Ito together proposed another alternative technique of transmission line based metamaterial. In transmission line based and a shunt C. But if you can artificially create in the complemented structure, that is, you will have a opposite nature, or I can say a complementary nature. So such a line they named as a meta line. So this is a historical background and chronological development towards that line. 1960 and then 1996, first John Pendy proposed wire kind of structure. those who are aware of the classical physics develop opposite side of the gap, realization and the extract, parameter extraction. It's in planar micro circuits and then different kind of power divider, phase shifters, compact antenna, relay. Aspired antenna might have so much of applications because people are mainly think that typically small antennas. So this is little bit of more theoretical background, like Drude Lorentz theory you can apply, and you can show that epsilon negative, and this type of structure which is called the oriented electric field, you can replace them by an equivalent circuit like this, and using this, the Lorentzian plot that is this frequency part. And so this is what the fundamentals of metamaterial and double negative material I wanted to uh, plasma frequency, and below this frequency you have a region of frequency for mu is negative. So when you combine these two structures together, like ENG and this is called MNG. So ENG structure and MNG structure, this periodic structure, you really get a region where you get the double negativity in your structure. So this is the metamaterial which I have defined as a propagation in metamedium. Let us imagine that as a classical electromagnetics engineer, we know that the material's properties are basically times sigma as well, because sigma is the cause of the attenuation and cause of the signal strength. Such a medium is here, and you have another such medium here. But just blocks where I can have an engineered medium. So engineered medium means that medium's property both can be positive or negative. Then these four combinations will come into picture. So those four combinations can be described in this four particular quadrant. So first quadrant, medium here, and then we can have only mu negative, but epsilon is then it is called ENG, epsilon negative type of material. And then when we have material, which is the third quadrant. But what is the implication of this particular diagram? Interesting to understand the physical significance of presence of an engineered medium between two conventional medium. So block 1 and block 2 are conventional, and block intermediate block is over here. And this particular case is actually showing how the whether signal will reach in medium 3 or not. If it reaches, how it reaches, right? Uh, it will work, I hope. Yeah, probably. Positive. So I have a signal over here. You can so as expected, but if I apply the simple then beta, which is omega square root of mu epsilon, becomes imaginary. And as you know, corresponds to the propagation. So that's what is happening over here. When I have, you see the signal effectively doesn't reach into the medium 3. So what's happening in medium 2? Either the medium is getting absorbed, it is can be realized. So this is a mu negative property. Similarly, if you see the third medium epsilon negative, because here epsilon negative a similar kind of situation over here. So let's see. So in this case, also as you can see now, you have launched the signal at the block 1. You do your interpretation I talked about, right? And the most interesting part is that this actually you will have propagation, because now you have beta equal to supposed to see is that phase and group will be opposite. Phase velocity and group velocity will opposite. That means even though the energy will be going from medium 1 to medium 3, the phase of the wave in medium 2 is opposite. So you see the wave reaches from in this direction. That means the pointing vector is going in this direction, but the phase of the wave is moving in the medium. When electromagnetic wave propagates, I have a phase retardation. Phase retardation. That means if the wave travels by lambda by 2, I get a phase. But in this kind of medium, because phase is moving in opposite direction, so phase minus 90. That means instead of phase retardation, we will be getting phase advancement. So such concepts have been used by many groups to create the zero. Then you have a phase retardation. If that part is connected phase delay that has happened because of the conventional medium. So by cascading them, you can ensure after the signal goes through both the medium, you get actually a zero delay line. So even though this particular part is not very much linked with my presentation, I wanted to show, because the structures now I am going to show. So this is a slide probably you have seen in many other forums. Many researchers and presenters are showing positive. You will have forward wave propagation in quadrant 2 or quadrant. And in the second medium, that is you understand because of the phenomenon that I discussed, whereas in the material. So what you see is here you see the wave in the liquid medium. So it is called the reversal of Snell's law. You can see from here also that in terms of the refractive index, negative refraction, this is a n2 greater than 0 refracting index. So the wave is going in this particular direction. So these kind of phenomena have been used for designing different kind of optical devices, starting from lensing, super lensing. So with this, a very brief introduction on the metamaterial, because the structures that I'm at the very outset, I just encourage all of you, because I'm going to cover a lot, many things I'll get the enough opportunity to extend you to go into these papers. Antenna advanced. First author of the past paper is my PhD student Latif Saik, who after graduation is the detail of these two is PhD students research, and the many other work that I'll be discussing in this presentation are finally culminated in a book by us, and that book is myself, Professor Siddiqui, and Professor Yahya Antar, my Canadian. It's very often in different kind of structures. I thought giving you a very brief info about these victim resonators. So these are, so we have extensively and better modified structures, resonance frequency calculation. So this is the typical equivalent circuit proposed by Ricardo Marcus, the Spanish group, and in results, because these are very narrow band resonators. So precise calculation of resonance frequency is very, very important.